Welcome to the NerdLore podcast. We talk stories, theories, and lore. I'm one of your three hosts, Shiny Shoes.
And I am Crashstarling.
It's your boy Skandle, bright and early on this Saturday morning.
Yeah. And this week we are talking about concert stories and convention stories. One of the two. Yes.
Those raves, the freakiest people come out. There's like girls dressed in like neon tutus and like leg warmers and
cyber goths, my favorite.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm going to lead us off today, and I'm going to tell you guys about probably my favorite convention that I ever went to. It was a anime convention kind of near where we live, and I mean, real nerdy kind of stuff. But I got some friends together. We heard it was coming, so we like carpooled down there, and it was probably an hour and a half drive for us. So we drove an hour and a half. There was 5 of us. We got there, we didn't know what to expect because we hadn't necessarily been one. So I dressed as Inuyasha, and I had, the red pants, the white shirt, a little bit of red over that, and the big old white wig, and we made out of foam his sword. So I get there, and I'm talking, and you can't brandish weapons inside the arena. So if you wanted to sword fight someone, we'd have to go outside. Well, there was this guy that bought some Ganondorf armor. He looked like Ganondorf. So he's like, and he had a big foam sword too. And he's like, I challenge you. And I was like, okay, this is weird, whatever that means. But okay, let's go outside and do this. Yo, I smoked that dude with that sword 3 times. And I'm like, you're dead, right? You gotta be dead. And he's like, no. He's like, you're wearing cloth. I'm wearing armor. And I said, yo, buddy, Tetsaiga is a giant sword. This thing will cut your arm off easy. And he's like, you've done enough damage to me that I can't use my left hand. I was like, okay.
His left hand?
I said,
did you
okay.
even hit him on the hand?
I hit him in the leg twice and once right in the stomach. And I said, okay. So, and I mean, this is back when I was 19 and I was still very, very athletic. So I was like, okay, we got this. So I ran at him and I put my sword up like I was going to slash down. He goes up to block and I smoked him right in the stomach with it again. And I was like, does that take your other arm or does this one work? And
I
he's
thought
like,
you were going to uppercut him in the nuts.
And he's just going to kick him.
And he kind of looks at me. He's like, no, I think you win. So we go inside. I was like, this is cool. We go inside. One of my buddies is dressed like the kid from Paranoia Agent. So we actually bought him a pair of rollerblades. We spray painted them yellow. We got a baseball bat. We beat the baseball bat to make it curved. Well, he was on rollerblades. I get a call 20 minutes later, and I was like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, I need you to come get me. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm in a glass case of emotion, and he hung up. I didn't know what that meant at all. So I'm looking around for this dude. He got apprehended by security because he was wearing rollerblades inside the convention center, and they said, hey, we had to take you down, and you can't wear your rollerblades anymore because people are walking around barefoot. And we're like, well, why the hell are people walking around barefoot? But okay. So he had to go put his blades up. We do that. We come back in time. They're having some kind of auction to raise money for whatever charity it is. The auction, you get a date with whoever's on the stage. So my friend Augie's with us. There's a girl up there, and he sees her. He's like, yo, I want to win this date. So she goes up there. She's dressed as a character for Dragon Ball Z. Instead of introducing herself, she looks at the crowd and just drops down and does a full split. And everybody says, oh. So
So your boy and I would have been waging against each other.
Well, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So
Let me just pull out all of my money from crypto. I need to win this date.
We pulled you had to pay cash. So we pulled all our money together and the bidding went up to $300. So he wins the date. He wins the date with the girl. They go on a date while we're kind of walking around the convention center. He comes and finds me. He's like, hey, man, I need the keys to the car. What do you need the keys to the car for? He's like, this date's going. He's like,
let's go.
This date's going real well. And I was like, okay. I said, oh, I don't like this, but okay. I was like, you're cleaning the car when you're done. So that happens. And then, you know, as they go out there to kind of do that, there's a couple guys that get into like a fist fight as we're watching. So then we come back because we're watching the fist fight because it's fun. I mean, we're not going to break it up. Two anime people fighting each other. This is like a dream come true. We actually can find out, you know, who's actually stronger, Goku or Panda Bear. So
yeah,
we watch this. Then there's like some kind of rave that night. We're going out there in the like the anime rave.
Yeah.
We go to the rave because like, hey, you know, it's a good time and everybody's like, you know, bumping and grinding and doing weird stuff like that. Some girl's dressed up in like a big cardboard outfit and she's pretty good looking and she's out there trying to dance. Her damn cardboard outfit rips in half and she's just exposed to the world. And we're like, oh. So one of her friends like throws her cape over her, which is, I mean, you think about real life, who just has a cape on, but at an anime convention, everybody's wearing capes. So the girl like gets the cape draped over and has to leave. And that was how day one went. After we left, we went to the Steak and Shake across the street. Everybody in the Steak and Shake was dressed as an anime character. But that isn't even the weirdest thing happening. In the middle of the Steak and Shake, there was a clown interview going on. And I don't know if you've ever seen a clown interview. They make the potential clown do clown stuff. He has to tie a balloon. He has to like do jokes on people around the restaurant. I talked to the lady who was being our waitress, and she said, I freaking hate this job. It was quite possibly one of the best days of my life. That's all one day. And then the next day we went back again. Wasn't as exciting the second day, but I'm just like, what in the world is going on here?
If I think you go to the same convention I go to.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance like we were at the same thing before we even knew each other.
A very good chance.
There's probably a good chance that if you were dressed as Inuyasha, I went, oh look, there's Inuyasha 45.
Wow. My costume was homemade. Thank you very much. And it was beautiful.
Okay. Whatever.
Whatever, nerd.
Yeah. Whatever, you weeb.
Yeah. Ooh. So that is one of my favorite convention stories, just how silly and fun that day was. There's a bunch more to it. I mean, there's a lot. If you ever get the chance to go to one of these, even if you think it's nerdy, because it is nerdy, don't let me tell you it isn't. Do it. It's really fun. You're going to see people. The best thing about it too, a lot of people there have social anxiety. So if you don't even want to be talked to, most people aren't even going to talk to you unless you go out of your way to talk to them. So,
Damn, extroverts who want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, there's rooms where people are just playing D&D all day. Like they have sponsored D&D rooms. They have video game tournaments, Magic Gathering, like all of it. So.
Well, alternatively, then there's the ones with social like ineptitude that like don't know how to start conversations. So they come up to you and be like, I remember I was like I was playing Pokemon on my DS at an anime convention because I was waiting for my friends to do something. And this dude came up to me and he was like, I think he saw like what I was doing. He's like, your Pokemon team's trash. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Go away. Fuck off.
He's got a point.
You fucking got me.
Those people are
they're the salt of the earth.
They're the ones.
They're the ones running this economy. You know how much those little figurines fucking cost.
But those people, like, having the social anxiety, like, I understand that, right? Mm-hmm. But to be like socially inept, like, I don't get that. And when you meet somebody who's like that, and you're at a party or you're whatever, and you try to talk to them, and they just come up with some like weird off the wall shit to comment on your stuff, like it. those people are way weirder than people who are just socially awkward. Like socially awkward, like you can read that body language and you're like, okay, you're just not good at this, right? Or you're not used to doing this stuff. But like the inept people, like their whole body language, everything about them is just awkward and weird.
Do you think it's possible? So this is what I've always wondered. Do you think it's possible to be not socially awkward, but socially inept?
Yeah, because socially awkward is more of like you don't know what to do with your hands, you don't know where to stand, you don't know how to balance yourself. Like that's all body language that you read as awkwardness. But like just being inept and just like saying some off the wall comment that doesn't make sense, or it's almost like when somebody tries to be funny and they're not. That's like inept to me. Like that's the same vibe you get. Crash, you're not like that.
I used to be. You don't understand. You are describing little me. That was little me.
You do like say some weird things every so often, but it's not like it's not inept. It's like it's awkward, man. Like, and it's fine.
Yo, I used to know this guy. I literally knew this guy, and this is exactly what you're talking to. Like, the guy would talk. He always talked. Was never not talking. Had no trouble like just going up there and talking. But anytime he was talking, nobody cared about what he was talking about. And he would like, he's cracking himself up and he's laughing, and everybody's just like, please.
They're looking at each other, rolling their eyes. Everything.
I feel like I'm getting lit the fuck up talking. Like by the transitive property. Like you're describing other people, but it's just fucking me.
So for me, I don't like to be around a lot of people if I'm forced to be there. If I'm going to a show or like a concert or to a party or whatever that I know people at, I like to have a good time. But I don't like, if I have to go to like Walmart to get groceries, I don't like to be around a ton of people at Walmart, right? Like it just, but I'm an extrovert. Me neither, bro. Like extroverts like me, we tend to adopt those introverts who are awkward. And we don't necessarily force them to talk, but like, we kind of do, right? Like when like your buddies come in and you're talking to them and then you like introduce them and then you make them talk about things. But being an extrovert, it's really weird as far as like going up to random people and talking. At least for me, I'm looking at people, trying to notice small things about them that I can strike up a conversation about. Like, and it's not something that I purposely do. Looking at if they have a wedding ring on, looking to see like if they have a tattoo, or like there's always something detail wise about them that you can strike up a conversation about. But that's like just how an extrovert's brain works, I guess, or at least this extrovert, that's how my brain works.
People don't realize that like social smartness is like a really smartness, and a lot of times they'll know those extroverts and they think, oh, those are just silly people, or they're fools, they're dummy because they're always joking around. But what people don't realize is you got to be really smart to be very good at being social, because you have to be able to read everything that's going on to keep a conversation going. You have to read body language and individual people, and you have to gauge everything you say will determine if you can continue going down a path, if people will find that funny. A lot of people don't realize that. So
I don't get it. I just say dumb shit. Okay, so I guess mine's next, and on the like opposite end of the spectrum, there's something interesting that happened within anime for the last few years. It got popular, right? It got popular, and it reached a lot of ears and eyes of like people who were not so socially inept like the rest of us, and so that kind of like segues into the story of like how I had made friends through anime conventions for like years, right? Like they're people I will never talk to outside of anime conventions. I literally show up and I'm like, hey, it's fucking Pringles. Like, I don't know. You just know them by weird shit, right? So I met this girl who called herself Kitty. I don't know anything about her. Yeah. So we were hanging out and she's like, I made
that person. Because they named themselves.
Look, outside, out in the outer fucking verse, I am horrible at talking to people because I don't care or I don't have anything that like aligns with their interests. But in there, I'm fucking Giga Chad. Because everyone's got the same interests.
Everybody's nerdy. Everybody's nerdy. Everybody's walking around with half-naked anime figurines. So like, there's no social power ladder. You just
and you can just say fucking weird shit, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's the fucking anime line."
Because you gotta
people know what you're talking. What?
I'm just
What? You said what?
He said you got to be weird to be there.
Yeah, is that what he said? So it actually reminds me, we were looking for a new
There's some yes.
Those raves, the freakiest people come out. There's like girls dressed in like neon tutus and like leg warmers and
cyber
like,
goths, my favorite.
Yeah. Oh.
You ever wonder if the cartoons you grew up with have like shaped your desire for women or anyone at that for that reason? It's like people who grew up watching. Now I don't. What's the name of that one that cartoon that was like Survivor for the kids show?
Total Drama Island.
Total Drama Island. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. But like the chick on there that was always bad was the goth chick, right? Like all those girls that were all shaped and dressed the same way. They like. It makes you wonder if that's why you're attracted to those type of people. Because
you say the bad girl from Kim Possible? Is that what you said?
No. He's talking. And the worst part is I know exactly what he's talking about. Her name is Gwen.
Yeah,
She's Total Drama.
yeah.
Oh my god. Literally I'm fucking I like there's jokes on the internet all the time of people who are obsessed with big titty goth girlfriends because of old cartoons.
Hell yeah.
I subscribe to that mentality.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I think we all do. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. So me and Kitty are hanging out, right? Like I don't remember what the I know. I don't know her real name. I think it's like
fucking cringe.
Susan or something.
That's probably why Kitty. Because nobody wants to be named Susan.
I'd go by Kitty as well.
All right. Yeah. We're just all kidding now. We're hanging out and she's like, hey, I made some new friends and they want to go hang out in their hotel room. And I'm like, fucking whatever. I'm down to clown. I'm not doing anything. So we head over and I meet like it was a group of 5 people in this like hotel room with like 2 fucking beds and 1, bathroom. And, I can see that there's like one outlier and then a couple on the bed and a couple on the couch, right? And they're clearly a couple. They're like the girls are like sitting on the dude's laps and like they're hugging and kissing. And so I'm like, okay, so those 2 are couples. So I'm just getting to know everyone. Like 2 more people show up that like I don't know. And apparently they are also a couple, right? So I'm chatting, like getting to know these people and they're very strange. Like the outlier I find out is like pansexual. And I made the joke like, haha, frying pan fucker. And I'm like, we're just joking and they're talking about sexuality and they're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you? And this was back before like I'd ever thought about it. So I was like, oh, I'm straight. Wink. Like,
as he's staring at the dude across the way.
Yeah, this dude was like, so he's like, so you're straight, huh? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, huh?
I've never really thought about it.
So at one point, there was like this like weird moment where I like stopped talking to this dude and I looked back around at the 3 couples, right? And I just noticed that like a bunch of them like just changed places and not like they got up like and sat down and they sat on the lap over there. Like the girls and the dudes just like switched places with each other. Like there was one girl on one girl's lap, one dude talking to another dude on his lap. And I was like, what the hell's going on? Was there like a Chinese fire drill I didn't realize? Like, are we playing like musical chairs? What happened? And then they did it again. Like I watched them like get up and do it. I'm like, oh fuck. This is like a polyamorous like conglomerate of like 8 people. Where the fuck am I?
They're called orgies, bro.
No, it's not. Like I asked about I asked the dude and he's like, oh yeah, we're a poly couple. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Me and my fucking raised Catholic.
Yeah, I was gonna say raised in the Midwest Catholic ass idea.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, we're a polyamorous couple. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And they explained it to me. And I was like, you can do that? And he's like, yeah, do you want to learn more? And I was like, huh? But the actual story is that this polyamorous couple, they were like playing party games and stuff. And they had like a couple of game consoles. And I was just getting to know these people. And they're like, hey, who wants to play darts? And I was like, there's no dartboard in here. What do you mean? They're like, oh, we have darts. You see that mirror over there? And I was like, yeah, that's the dartboard. Oh, so they're like suction cup darts. I'm like, okay, cool. That makes sense. Then they take out a trunk, right? They put it right on the fucking ottoman. And I'm like, these fucking big ass darts, I guess. They start pulling out dragon dildos. Fucking big ass honking horse cocks.
Uh-huh.
And they're suction cup dildos. I'm like, no way this is fucking happening, right? They go over to the side and they're facing the mirror and they take the fucking jiggly horse cock and chuck it and try to get the suction cup to land on the fucking mirror. They drew a fucking target with lipstick. And I'm like, this place is fucking magical. This is fucking weird and I hate it, but it's so...
Them anime conventions is just a bunch of horny nerds. That's all it is.
True.
That's all it is. Oh, they're wild.
No, could you just imagine being that extroverted out in normal public?
Me?
Yeah.
You funny.
Why
funny.
Why is it that you can do it at a convention or with those types
because if I if I went to an anime convention, I met a person, right? I'd be like, who do you think out of this video game has the biggest balls? And they'd be like, I prepared a 20-page PowerPoint on this very subject.
Okay.
But if I go out and I'm like, hey, what are you into? And they're like, I like baseball. I'm like, great, bye.
I was hoping that you were gonna ask who in baseball has the biggest ball. Like, this is why people don't want to be asked that.
It makes sense. All right, no, that was very well done because you are just as weird as all the other.
Yeah, there's no social hierarchy in an anime convention. Everyone's at the bottom and the top at the same time.
There's no top. There's no top.
No, there's definitely a top.
Oh yeah,
it's the fucking really hot cosplay girls.
Oh yeah. They're the alphas. They're the alphas.
They are the fucking they're the fucking Heathers, right? They're the cheerleaders that run this shit. Because if they fucking snap their fingers and they.
But the whole point of that is because those girls are in my mind there's a couple reasons why right. Those girls are paid to be there, right? Because sex sells, and you have a bunch of horny nerds there, right? So that's one thing, right? Two, because they know that they're at a horny convention like that, and if they dress up as a cosplayer here or there, that they know that they're going to get that social media attention. They're going to get people to start following them, and for that sort of thing. But most of those people who go to those conventions, now I'm going to stereotype here a little bit. The mentality, at least for me and a bunch of people I know, is that people who are there with their fucking 8-packs. And they're wearing, or the girls with their fake breasts and things like that, showing them off for those things. It's an insecurity, and the only reason that they're there is because they don't feel like they're getting enough attention out there. They know they're going to get it if they go to a convention like that. Because, let's be honest, the three of us. It's not like I think Crash is the only one who works out more than one day a month, right? So
I'm diving at that.
You know what I mean? It's easy for people like that to go to that sort of environment and get the attention, the lusting, the things that makes them feel like they're important. And that's why they're there.
I think that's a good point. I also think that that could definitely apply to a lot of them. I would say that applies to a majority of the people who are paid to cosplay there to kind of promote the event. But then there's also they have guests, they have panels where you can go and discuss specific anime stuff. They have game shows. My friend his name, I don't remember, but we called him Goldie. He made a Whose Line Is It? Or no, a Who... It was a famous boobs of anime panel. You had to you got a fucking screenshot of some breasts and you had to guess where they were from. I was really good at that game for some reason. And it was just people would show up to that. And there was a surprising amount of women in that joining that game. And I was like, this is weird.
I know a couple girls that cosplay I know they've gotten paid for it like professionally, and I know them personally. And a lot of them they just enjoy dressing up and going out to the conventions. They like everybody has different forms of art, and they build their costumes, and they're like, I just like to build these costumes and show them off because I'm really good at building these costumes. So I think there's that too. But I mean, there's some people that are paid because they are really, really good looking and really, really good at making money for places when they show up. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm in the same boat. Like when I step out of the shower and see myself in the mirror, I have to tell myself all the time. It's like there's got to be more than life than being really, really, really ridiculously good looking.
I don't know if there is really. I mean,
Zoolander quote, but neither one of you guys picked up on that.
Oh
one,
no,
so.
I got it. Zoolander's the best.
Crash, I'm surprised you did all the movies you watch.
Why am I being lit up today? My God. All right.
Is it my turn or are you? Okay, I didn't know if you were done. I feel
fucking
like
dragon dildo darts, bro. That's all I had.
Okay, my story is not as weird because
it's in the real world.
They take place at normal places. You know, you can dress up in a costume if you want to, but you know, you'll be treated accordingly. So,
hey, whoa. Listen.
No, it's a different style, right? So like you guys get dressed up to go to conventions. A lot of us get dressed up to go see concerts, right? Depending on the genre of music you go into, you know, there's unwritten rules that some people don't know about from the concert scene. I shouldn't say you never. You shouldn't wear the band that you're mainly going to go see, right? Like, unless it's like a band that's come back. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I went and saw the Deftones, so they were kind of out of the scene for a while, and then they came back, and we went and saw them live, and so a lot of people wore like White Pony shirts, things like that, from their albums way back in the 90s. Yeah, because I'm old. But aside from that, for the most part, you wear shirts of bands that are similar, because typically it's a conversation starter, right? Like, yeah, everybody's here to see Lamb of God, right? But you know, nobody knows who Decapitated is, but this dude's got a Decapitated shirt on, and you look at it and you're like, oh, can you tell? And then people that have a passion for music love to talk about music. They love to introduce people to like new bands that they really enjoy. But that being said, I just want to talk about a few of the concerts. I really, really, really enjoy concerts, and I don't know if that's because I'm such a music lover or it's that social environment or what it is about it. But I probably feel the same way you all feel going to a convention at a concert, right? Like that anxiousness, that anxiety of getting there, and then like the amount of fun that you have while you're there. Probably similar. Like, I guess I should just relate my concert stories with your guys' convention stories and just be like, okay, I understand now. It makes sense. You guys love this.
You gotta know.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, but I get it, right? Like,
concerts are just breeding ground for Skandle-like people.
Yeah,
they just want to talk about music and listen to cool music.
There's a lot of scandals at concerts. So I mean, a few like I don't have like just amazing moments that have happened at a concert. I've been to a lot of concerts. I will say that there was a band. They're still active. I don't really get to listen to them as much anymore because my 3-year-old does love a lot of music, but she's just not there with the metal scene yet. We're gonna get there though. Give it a year or two. She'll be in there with the metal.
A year or two.
She likes. She's
still listening to the. I was say she's still listening to the Wiggles, or what's the scoop
She never
here?
got into the Wiggles, man. She did like Baby Shark for a little while, which I think every kid does, but she never got into the Wiggles. There's so many other things on YouTube now, like Coco Melon, things like those shows that most kids love to go see. You'll find out soon enough, Shiny. One day we'll just be sitting here in Discord and just start singing songs together that we both know because of Coco Melon.
Can't wait.
I will say, okay, so there was a band that I listened to, Parkway Drive. They're a band from Australia, really popular now. They weren't super duper popular but then their last couple albums have been a lot more mainstream. He kind of pulled back a little bit on all of the screaming that they do in their music and started implementing some cleans and a lot of like some talking. So I don't think he's very confident in his actual singing voice. So a lot of the things he does to put cleans in his music, he does talking or stuff like that with. But anyway, it was really cool. So they're an Australian band, and they weren't coming to America very often because they just weren't that big of a deal. And the scene in Europe and the metal scene there and places like that is far surpasses American. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the videos of like when people are when the bands are in Germany or whatever, and it's just a field and it's just thousands and thousands of people there. The European concert scene is intense. But yeah, anyway, so this band Parkway Drive, they finally came to America. My brother and I, who've gone to a lot of concerts together, we got to go see them, and I got their first album and one of their shirts. It's wrinkled here because it's fallen down a little bit here, but I got to have it autographed by all of the band members, which I thought was really, really cool. We got to like actually meet them and shake hands, and Winston's a really cool dude. And yeah, anyway, so they like
was this when they came to Pops?
No, it was during Warped Tour. Actually, they came.
Okay, yeah.
Louis, and so we went and saw them, and yeah, I thought that was really cool to be able to meet a band from like, I don't know, not necessarily just another country, but like a band that you really, really enjoy. To get to see how chill they are. But yeah, it was fun. I don't have like any weird stories, but like I have cool concert stories, man.
I've seen Parkway Drive, I want to say 3 times, but the one time I went to them at Warped Tour, I didn't see them because they were playing when another band that I wanted to see was playing. But I saw them when they came to Pops with Killswitch Engaged, and then they were at the amphitheater for something else with somebody, and I don't know who it was that time, but I know I saw them there. They're really good.
They do put on a hell of a show, and they were like the headliners for that Warped Tour that I went to. Like they played at like 8:00 at night, and all the other stages were shut down.
Okay,
when
so it was definitely a different one then.
Yeah, but they were only there for a few of the shows. Like they didn't get funded to go across the entire country, or they had other arrangements or whatever. But yeah, I will say also. There's a Scottish band that I really, really like, Bleed From Within, and they're picking up steam, and they're headlining some festivals and stuff over in Europe, and I'm really happy for them because I really, really enjoy them. But yeah, anyway, I don't have any funny, cool stories like you guys did.
No, I mean
nobody's throwing dildos at fucking.
No. I will say at Ozfest one year it was I can't remember what year it was, but they it rained real badly, and back at the amphitheater they have that real big grass.
Yeah.
So everybody was just sliding in the mud and stuff like that at this, and just getting just filthy, just having a blast, dude. Like
it was fantastic.
It was, dude. Everybody's like in line, and they're just checking, just Superman, and dude.
There, Ozfest too. I mean, there isn't any of that, but there is a lot of times where there are people getting up on people's shoulders and flashing just for the entire, like the entire lull when the people aren't on stage and they're switching out. That happens a bunch.
I will say there's a big misconception about how brutal metalheads are, like, or because the lyrics and some of the songs and things like that, but. Yes, the pit can get very physical. The pit can be but everybody who goes there knows that if someone goes down,
you pick them up.
You make a hole and you pick them up. Nobody gets trampled on. At a metal show. And it used to be like crowd surfing and stuff like that at punk shows. For girls, it was really dangerous because they got touched inappropriately as they were coming through. And that scene has gotten so much better. I've seen fights break out because somebody a chick who was crowd surfing got touched inappropriately. And that dude got his ass beat because everybody's there to have a good time. Nobody's there to get assaulted, right? Like we're there to have fun. And that music in that situation has put us in such a mood that we need to be physical or we need to go do some like crazy stuff. And I appreciate the fact that scene has changed and that it's forcing people to think twice. Like nothing's like that's not the place to do that kind of stuff. Not that there's any place to assault somebody.
I mean, and if you've never been in like a mosh pit, you've never got to do that, I'd recommend doing it. And I think the favorite time I've ever had in a mosh pit, I was in there. You know, I'm a large man. I'm 6'2". I mean, I used to be a lot more muscular than I am now, but like I'm 6'2" and I'm pretty quick. And I remember like this 5-foot girl one time was in the mosh pit and she just runs into the side of me and just smokes me as hard as she can and kind of just bounces off me. And I look down at her and she's like, and she starts running again. and
even if you're too scared to like, not scared, but maybe it's your first time and you don't have your pit cherry popped yet, but like you can stand on this outside circle and just push people back into it. Like it just get into it, man. Like it's just
you
like
throw hands in there. I like
no.
a fucking garden in there. Like I don't understand it at all.
You're thinking like hardcore shows, and that's like
about the
I'm not
like,
thinking of anything. I've never.
That's the way they're dancing is like they're spin kicking and shit.
Yeah.
And
Are you like playing bumper cars in a big pile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just jumping up and down, and you're just jumping into each other, and just that. It's just
most time we'll start circling at one point. You just be a part of it, and you just run.
There's all kinds of different pits. There's like a typical pit where it's just people jumping around and smashing at each other. There's circle pits. There's this thing called the Wall of Death where the band will split the entire place like this, and there's just a big gap between, and then they start playing, and they're like on the count of 3 go, and then both sides just slam, like run full speed and slam into each other. Like it's epic to watch those things.
When I was
be in the middle of all those.
When I was 18, that was fun. As a old ass man now, the thought of doing that, I'm gonna need 4 days in an ice bath just to recover.
Ice bath, make sure you hydrate afterwards. You need to hydrate at least a couple days before going in. Do some stretching because your legs will hurt.
Yeah, so I can.
Can you imagine like COVID restricted walls of death where you have to stop 6 feet away from each other?
Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
It sounds like you're just playing Red Rover, but all at the same time.
Everybody's chicken.
Listen, you gotta, if you're gonna be the wall of death, you know, and you're gonna be the fast guy that's up front, right before you hit that other side, what I'd recommend is jumping and turning your body sideways. You really get a maximum amount of coverage that way. Everyone's gonna fall, but everyone's gonna get back up afterwards.
You're just the other person doesn't try to go low, like they don't. Because when you jump and spin and they go low, you're gonna fall.
Yeah. It's really good. Parkway Drive, they put on a good show. They, I remember the time we really watched was when they came with, it was them, Dillinger Escape Plan, and Kill Switch Engage. That was a really good show. That was back when they had Howard still. So, I mean,
Dillinger opened up for the Deftones in Denver. That was a good show. And then when they sang Passenger, he came out and sang Maynard's part with,
that's pretty
Cheeto.
cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Definitely good bands. So. Right. Well, so now we're going to do our part of the show. I'm going to tell you about games or stuff that you should be really looking into. This week, instead of games, I'm going to give you, on cue kind of theme, I'm going to talk about an anime you need to really check out. And I'm going to say Jujutsu Kaisen just finished season 1. If you're not watching it, you should be. It's
good.
It is, if it keeps pace and follows along with what they did in the manga, this is going to be considered one of the greats, and you should really watch it. So that's what I got. Skandle, music?
Music. Port of Osiris, White Nile, good fucking song, just came out. They're going to be releasing a new album. It's a good band. It's a really, really good band from Chicago.
Hell yeah. Take it home, Crash.
Oh, I was like, what do I do? Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to check us out on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, Podcast Music Podcast. Next week, let's see, pull up that sketty. We've got heck. College Stories.
Oh.
Yep. So look forward to that. Should drop I think that one's probably going to be one where we drop it on that weekend rather than that Friday. So look out for it next week. Sometime next weekend.
Well, this has been NerdLore Podcast. I'm Shiny Shoes.
I'm Crashstarling.
It's your boy Skandle, baby.
See you next time.
See ya.